Welcome to the MailValet training videos. This video covers using the email form to compose new emails and the email form functions which are used to operate on emails that are being either composed, viewed, forwarded, or where a reply is being composed. To open a new blank email, tap on the New Email button in the main window as you see here. This will bring up a blank email form which contains the usual email elements: one or more primary recipients that go in the To field, one or more courtesy copy recipients that go in the CC field, one or more blind courtesy copy recipients that go in the BCC field, a subject, a from address, and one or more attachment files that go in the attachments field if needed. And of course, the email text itself and any inline images that you may want to paste in along with the text. There are three ways to enter all of the recipient addresses for the To, CC, and BCC fields. They are either directly typing in the full email address, typing in a partial email address, and then selecting a full address from the search pop-up that appears once you start typing, or tapping on the plus button to the right of the To, CC, or BCC fields to select a recipient from your iPad contacts and then tap on one or more of those contacts to add them as a recipient in the email. We'll illustrate each of those methods now. For example, to put a recipient in our To field, we can tap into that field and simply type in the full address. John Q. Public at emailserver.com is one way of doing it. You'll notice that there was a search pop-up that came up, and once we entered more than matched anything in our contacts, the entries were cleared out. If we don't like the entry that we made, we can erase it quickly by swiping to the left in the recipient field that we're working in at the time. In other words, for John Q. Public, I can erase this quickly, swiping left by making a left swipe, as you see here. Okay, demonstrating the second method, we can begin typing in the email address, and the matching entry that you see in the pop-up here is what we want to use, so we will tap on that and select it immediately, the full address, to insert in the To field. The third method of doing it is, let's say we want to add an additional To field. We'll tap on the plus button, and we have now a list of the contacts that are on our iPad, and we can tap once on each of those that we want to add as emails. We can tap outside of that dialog to close it, and you can see the three To recipients. Same thing is true with courtesy copy. We'll have to duplicate for purposes of the illustration. We'll put one in courtesy copy. We'll go to BCC, put another one in there as well, and that will fill in all of our recipients. For the subject, we just simply type in the subject that we want to enter, and that's ready to go. Attachment files are added by tapping on the plus button next to the Attachments field, and then there are four possible sources of attachment files: either from your iPad's camera roll or photo albums, from files that you have stored online at Dropbox.com, from attachment files which have already been added into MailValet via received emails that contain attachments, or by using the Open-In function from an external app installed on your iPad, which can be used to export a file from another app into MailValet as a file attachment. We will illustrate the use of each of these methods of adding attachment now. First, we'll add an attachment from the iPad's camera roll. We'll tap on the plus button next to Attachments and select from the pop-up Attachment from Photo Albums. That will bring up a list of photos and albums that are already saved in your iPad. We can select a photo from there, and that will be then added back in as a normal attachment in the email. Notice that the attachment file name shows up in the attachments line, and that an icon for the image shows up in a scroll list at the bottom that contains an icon for each one of the attachments that you add. If you need to take a quick view of the attachment, you can do a long press on the attachment to bring up a pop-up for that. And you can say View in Pop-up Viewer to take a look at what the photo that you just added. We can cancel that. We can do a long press again. And there are options to open in another application, or if you made a mistake, you can remove this from this email, like so. You'll get a confirmation. You can cancel, or you can say OK to actually remove this from the email. It does not remove your photo, but it does remove it from the email. I'm going to cancel for right now, and we'll leave that there for the time being. The next method of adding an attachment is to select a file that you have already saved externally in Dropbox.com. To do that, we'll again tap on the plus button next to Attachments, and this time select Attachment from Dropbox. Because this demonstration is using the iPad simulator rather than the iPad itself, Dropbox is not installed here, so for the simulation, this is as far as we can go. In your iPad, if you have already registered with Dropbox, a list of the files will come up at this point, and you can select one which will be added as another attachment file, and it will appear in a very similar fashion to what you just saw. So we will go ahead and close this and look at the next method, which is to look at files that have already been stored in the Mail of LA folder by incoming emails. So let's tap on the plus button and select Attachment from Local Files. Now that will bring up a list of files that came in as attachments on other emails that you have received. And you will need to know the file name, which you can see by viewing the other emails and looking at the file name that is displayed there. And you can then look in here and find the corresponding file that has already been brought in at this point with this scroll list. So let's go ahead and select one of those, and we will add that again. Again, it appears much the same way, and you have the same viewing and other function capabilities with the long press that I showed you before. Now we're ready to add our actual email text to the message, plus any optional additional images that we would like to paste in alongside the text. So I'll go ahead and add the first line of text. I'll add a few spaces and then an additional line. And what we would like to do is move the cursor back between these two lines and paste in an image. So I'm going to use the Home key, double-click Home key, and go to my photos stored on the iPad and select an image. I'm going to press and hold and select Copy to copy it to the clipboard. Then I'll double-click my Home key to go back to my application. And we'll do a long press in the text area here to paste the image in. Now select Paste. And we now have the image. We can scroll down, scroll back up again. Now it looks like we lost our previously attached images, but we didn't really. If you notice that there is a small arrow at the bottom center right below the email, we'll tap on that, and we have our scroll list of attached images as well as the inline image that you see here. I'll scroll that back up again. Now that we've completed composing our email, we're ready to send it, or there are some other things that we can apply to an email that's been just composed or displayed in the form. You'll notice that after we tapped on New Email to get the form up, a new icon appeared on the right called Mail View. That contains a pop-up that has a set of functions that can be applied to emails that are currently being displayed. And so we'll tap on that. And there's several options that we have here. We can either expand the email form to full screen, so that you notice that in some cases we have to scroll the email when it has the email list showing. We can go to full screen and get a much wider view. We can also save the email that we have displayed into our drafts folder. We can put it in the trash folder where eventually it will automatically be deleted. We can print it via AirPrint. There's AirPrint support for emails. We can send it just by selecting send, and it will go out through our sending account. Or if we want to just discard everything, we can select close email form. And then again, as a courtesy, there is a close this dialog form which leaves the email in place intact, but closes the form as you see here. So I'll tap again on Mail View and bring this back up. And let's illustrate the expand email form to show it full screen. So we have a much wider view in this case. And you can see easily see the full picture a little without having to scroll back and forth. Notice that our normal attachments are still in place down here, and we can use the long press from here as well as in the original main window. Scroll back up again. Again, from here, the plus buttons work in the same way that we described before. And the other things that you can do from within the regular main window, you can also do here using the icons at the top. So you can save it to drafts. You can move the email to trash if it's an existing email, not a new one going out. You can AirPrint, or you can go ahead and send it from here. And what I would like to do here is select Shrink, and that will bring us back to where we were before in the normal email window. For purposes of this demonstration, I'm not going to try to actually send the email, but I would like to save it to the drafts folder. So I'll go ahead and click again on Mail View as you saw me do here, and select Save Email to Drafts. So we need to look at in the right place for where the draft went to as well. If you remember, let's look at our email accounts, and we have the iCloud account set as the sending email account. So when we're composing emails that are going out, they will be coming from the iCloud account, because that's the way we set it up here. So the draft would have been saved in drafts under the iCloud account. So I can click here to bring it back up again. And there's the email that I was working on. I can continue work with my draft, can change to a different email address here and so forth, and then send it on out. For now, I'll just close the email form. Try that again, close the email form. And that will conclude this training video on composing emails and using the email form functions.